G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an anti-armor radium rifle with bullets exploding for area damage and 25% less VATS action point cost per shot, major and minor legendary effects respectively. Now, weirdly, these are all out of order too. That should be up the top, that should be second, and that should be third. Probably a bug of having this thing drop perhaps early in the game, because these things are technically legacy weapons. The game sees these things and says, yep, that's an energy weapon, despite it firing bullets. Now, why they are rated as an energy weapon has probably got something to do with how it's got the extra radiation damage per shot. And by the way, I think the way that works is as the bullet's flying through the barrel, there's some radium, I guess, and it ionizes the bullet as it's going through, and that gives you the radiation damage. In terms of gameplay attributes, it really doesn't do a lot anyway, because the only enemies susceptible to radiation are going to be other players in PvP, but there's other legacy weapons that you ought to be using for PvP, and not this one. So, you know, having an explosive radium rifle is just kind of neat for the novelty value of it. So we're doing 49 and 15 ballistic and radiation damage respectively. As I chuck on the commando perks, you'll notice that the radiation damage doesn't improve at all. Probably a balanced thing. I believe the only way you could get your radiation damage up back in Fallout 4 was to grab something like, I think it was Nuclear Physicist, which will, I think it used to double your fusion core usage and give you extra rad damage per things. Yeah, I don't remember that perk a lot, but it was a nice one to have if you wanted to, you know, maximize your damage. But back in that game, you could go and find whole hordes of just basic enemies that are humans that you could actually use a radiation damage on with. But in the post-apocalyptic wasteland where there's no settlers around, like Wasteland settlers to shoot around, this thing might be of limited use when it comes to actual radiation damage, but we're more concerned about the ballistic damage. We're sitting on 100 now, so that's doubled it, so that's pretty cool. Alrighty, so here we are outside of the live-action Shrek audition complex, and my radium rifle is there, and all of my combat armor is pretty cool. It's got camo paint on it, because I bought a little bundle. All of it is AP refresh, and one of them has the harder to detect while sneaking, and this one just has agility, which is actually pretty good, because that's 10 action points, and also a little bit of extra sneak bonus out of that, and my buffs are as follows. Yep. Let's hope that grilled steak lasts, or the grilled rad stag lasts a while, because, yeah, it's not easy having 2 strength and carrying around a rifles build, because they're not the lightest things in the world. So, here's the thing about the radium rifle. It's got the same rate of fire as everything else, but it's got very high recoil, and granted, it's a lot easier to control than most things, because of the low rate of fire. If you're using a fire rate version, the recoil is quite bad. And also, we're going to be reloading quite a lot due to the perforating magazine. But that's okay, because the perforating magazine gives us armor penetration. We have to make sure that we don't actually shoot ourselves with the explosions, because we can do a little bit of damage to us. Now, we picked up some radiation damage for some reason, and that is probably because for some reason, the explosions carry the radiation, which I believe is why this thing is rated as a legacy weapon, because, well, look, if you can get the bullet on target and then strike them also with the explosive damage, you get a double serving of radiation damage, which they probably didn't want to allow, so we're doing 1, 5, 7, and 15, so although the ballistic damage has gone up, the radiation is just staying as is. As compared to the other legacy weapons in this game, this weapon is more on par with what you'd get with other weapons. I still think that the handmade is superior to it, even though this thing has an added bonus of having a little bit of extra armor, not armor penetration, a little bit of extra radiation damage tacked on, but, you know, it's interesting that this thing would be a legacy weapon. It really shouldn't be, to be honest. Right, let's talk about recoil control, because there's something that I want to discuss. It's a little bit of a tip for anyone who is actually using a combat rifle or radium rifle or fixer. My go-to barrels generally apply to however I want the weapon to run. If I wanted to reduce recoil, stabilize is a good trick. If I want to improve the usage of the thing in VATS, aligned is pretty good. If I want to tighten up that hipfire accuracy and make it as accurate as possible, the true barrel and true stock, definitely a good choice. Let me just get back into caution, please. Hang on. There we go. Give me back those multipliers, please. And I've actually managed to bust the damage or the reflex side again. Switching out of viewpoints will fix that though. But with the Radium rifle, since the recoil is so high with this thing, I actually recommend chucking on the stabilized barrel. I mean, if you've got it. There's one there. Yeah, stabilized barrel if you've got it, and a line stock. Now that might seem like madness, but believe me, the recoil is a lot easier to control with the stabilized barrel, which is, you know, best for stopping recoil in general, but if you chuck on the stabilized stock along with that, you're left with a whole lot of horizontal recoil, and the weapon will bounce along a little bit like that as you fire, which is not easy to control. But if I just hold down the trigger and let her go, you'll notice that the recoil pattern is a lot more vertical. What is that? Okay, he's shooting at the plants because, well, they haven't figured out how to farm yet, I guess. The gardening is still a little bit over the super mutant's head. Yeah, as you can tell, as I let her go, the recoil pattern is straight up, which is a lot easier to control. And you can magnify this if you've ever found a fire rate variant, which is objectively better anyway. Like, although there might be a legacy weapon to give you extra explosive damage where the game says, nah, you can't actually have it there. The fire rate version and increasing in DPS is a lot better, to be honest, but that's neither here or there. So yeah, basically recoil control, you want it to be as flat and as straight as possible, so, you know, it's just easier to pull down on the stick. Now, I'm not sure if the recoil controls or mechanics of the game are slightly different, varying on which platform. I assume it's probably the same on console. They don't... Why is this room full of super mutants? Well, there's the crowd control potential of it. You don't need any expert to tell you that, you know, explosive might be good in that situation. We've only been shot a few times, and, you know, the few times that we're actually in caution. Something's got these super mutants really spooked, and I don't know what it is. And something that I haven't been using is VATS either, so that's pretty good. We'll keep on sneaking around and see what we can find, but I think for the most part we're done in here. Except for, I missed a few in here, that's for sure. I really don't know what's got these super mutants up and around. Okay, so they're just perpetually detecting me because, well, why wouldn't they? Because they definitely would have seen me around the corner, and thank God I've got fireproof on right now. That is a clever spot for that super mutant to sit because I couldn't have shot him right away, so I had to back off. Luckily I got speed demon, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, so there must have just been an omnipotent super mutant upstairs that saw me before I got around, or just he specced into perception when normally super mutants wouldn't, but there you go. A little bit of life saving from... Okay. I feel like a bunch of super mutants were pulled out of somewhere and spawned in, but honestly, I think we get the point. Let's just move on to the tools and then we'll shoot them. Now, when it comes to fighting the tools here, having a suppressor with an explosive weapon is super beneficial to you. We actually killed something with bash damage. There you go, there's a first time for everything. Because when these ghouls finally spot you... Ooh, we can't actually one-shot these guys. Perhaps with a bit of adrenaline we could, but... I'm gonna have to take them to the tennis court because the jig is up already. If I was playing during the night, I'd, you know, be able to get a higher sneak multiplier, so I probably could one-shot these guys, but... Really? Come on, if you're all gonna... Okay, they forgot I was around, but... I'll quickly make short work of them here, hopefully. Just shoot them through the windows. Got no idea what I'm bloody shooting at. Ah, yes, finally they've come out. And now they can hit me, despite me being high up in the air where they couldn't possibly get me, because netcode, right? Anyway, so we'll blow up those cars, see if we can't take a few goals with them. And we'll continue to do this as unstealth commandery as possible. Have I seriously not aggroed the whole lot of them, or are they just... Okay, there's another one. There we go. A lot easier to track. So, yeah, when you're using explosive weapons in close quarters against an enemy that'll run up to you with no regard for their safety, you know, they want to get close to you so they can hit you, but that means that you're going to struggle a little bit in terms of, you know, getting yourself away from the enemies, and once they get to a certain point, they're going to kill you if it's them... whether it's you killing yourself or them killing you through punching them. And look how fast they go. They are lightning quick. Luckily, we can just hop over the fence and keep on luring them around like this, so that's pretty good. It takes them a while to recalibrate their pathing. That one snuck up on me, actually. couldn't see him because I was playing in third person. The combat armor makes Winter look a little bit fat, doesn't it? The heavy combat armor actually looks pretty good. It looks really dorky on male characters. Have you ever noticed that? Like, the shoulder pads are way too big and it just... Nah, I don't like the look. To be honest, I like the look of light combat armor the best because, I mean, the stat benefits aside, I just think it looks slightly less bulky and goofy and more cool. And when they did the live action Fallout 4 thing, I'm going to try to sneak the rest of this. Never mind, I'm just stuck in the caution or danger all the time. Yeah, something's gone off about these enemies. Maybe it's because I'm using a Radium rifle. The, oh, that was lucky. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Dodge him around the corner. Just see if I can't get a cheeky little stagger on him by shooting him on the ground. I'm surprised that didn't actually kill me. Alright, time to stop messing around. We'll start using VATS to our aim, because VATS is kind of needed on a Radium rifle. The thing isn't the most accurate weapon in the world either, so keep that in mind. Also, taking a look at the condition, it is a slightly small bar. This weapon must have been received on a lower luck build. I'm thinking that the explosive weapons aren't going to be as good on a target that is going to run at you like that, obviously, but then when you don't really have the DPS damage per bullet to really back it up, that kind of sucks too. I wonder if there's something odd going on with the damage here, because it just doesn't feel like it's hitting all that hard at all, unless I'm sneaking, which, you know, without sneaking, this weapon kind of falls apart, as you saw there. Okay, I'm going to experiment a little bit with Dodgy here. Let's see how much damage I take. So with the AP regen, that obviously bolsters Dodgy quite a bit, and wow, 163 for a sneak attack critical. Yeah, the Radium rifle seems a little bit impotent. Alright, it's about time we actually start playing to the strengths of the weapon, and, you know, with the 25% less AP cost per shot in VATS, probably a good idea to, let's just target the face, I think. That'd be a better idea, better use of our time. Got gun feel as well, so that's good. Yeah, seemed to be going a lot better when the game sort of does all of the aiming for me. We're not getting any crazy perception buffs out of unyielding either, so we're going pretty much as we would normally. And there's the Scorch Beast Queen, no, just kidding, a Mirelurk Queen, and is killed rather quickly. So yeah, just basically use this thing in VATS. I think that's the best way. What the hell? What's with the weird lighting there? That's kind of weird. Okay, so as usual, there's just a random encounter over there, and note the performance on the super mutants when I actually get this thing up and running with VATS. Can't actually see what I'm shooting at, but I think they're all dead. Still in caution somehow. It's probably the car. Yeah, that definitely got him. Anyways, drum roll please. What has the train yard smash got for us today? If it's mole rats, I'm saying bugger this, let's go Scorch Beast hunting. It is Mirelurk Kings, and there's a lot of numbers coming out of that. That's odd. And we're out of AP for now. If we just wait here, yeah, that'll be enough. It's like I'm getting damage numbers on the water? Wait, what? Yeah, I'm getting damage numbers on the water. What am I killing fucking I must be killing their children. God, that's it, I'm Anakin Skywalker now apparently, because, you know, the frogs are gonna reproduce somehow. Like the weird frogmen dudes. Yeah, they're gonna reproduce somehow, so I guess they lay a bunch of their eggs in there. There's a problem with your game plan, Mr. Segwaying Mirelurk King. This place is usually controlled by whatever the game deems to be necessary, so when those people move in, they're not going to take too kindly to your eggs, or rather they might, and they'll just make omelets out of them. So I'm not sure you can make omelets out of frog eggs. And there she blows. She's broken. It's yeah, I kind of saw that coming. So we saw by the wear on this thing before that she wasn't going to last long, so a mark against it. Since we can't kill our enemies super fast with a few bullets, like a bloody explosive, for example, the condition where it is going to wear down quicker than what it usually should. But let's go shoot some bats. Alright, plenty of health. We shouldn't have any problems with, repeated Scorch Beast strikes thanks to... There's one. There we go. Thanks to dodgy not serendipity, fireproof. And, it'd be useful for me to have... Ooh, they don't do jack shit. Just kidding, they actually hit pretty hard. That first hit must have not been a power attack or something, but that's a pretty big slash in damage just for a little bit of AP. And like I said, when I've got all of the AP regen that I do have on my current armor, it synergizes pretty well. The only problem is when there's constant attacks on you, you'll find that you can't sprint, you'll kind of get stalled where you are, but I guess it's on you to, keep the enemy fire on you around. I mean, it's not going to be too much of a problem for a sneak build for sure. You'll get the odd panic fire out of the zombie scorched dudes, but when the scorched beasts do their old big roar which has, a decent amount of splash damage attached to it, we seem to be tanking it pretty well. I don't think it hit quite close enough though. So using this thing in VATS, like I said before, playing to the strengths of this thing, even though we don't have the best perception right now, or we don't have it completely maxed out with the perception boosting unyielding armor. Not that it really matters. We're getting enough criticals with the build that we've got at only 9 ranks of luck to make a fairly decent mark, and Gunfeel is helping us out. And then the AP per bullet fired on the Radium rifle is actually not too bad anyway. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the third Scorched Beast to spawn, but likely I probably would have killed him before he lifted off the ground. But anyways, there you have it, an anti-armor Radium rifle, one of the more tamer legacy weapons out there. Something a little bit more balanced because, well, you're never going to use this in PvP anyway when there's explosive Gatling plasmas and lasers that exist, but it'll give you an idea of what this thing is, that could be like if they decided to, pull the legacy thing away from it, but they probably won't, because the explosive or the radiation damage rolling twice is probably a problem. It might be a problem for Wastelanders. I'm not really sure how that's going to pan out, but human enemies, you might actually see an influx of Radium rifles spawn because you can just gate their health with radiation, and if they mutate, well, they're not going to get that health back. That's taken up by the radiation on their health bar. So, there's merit to that, but until then, until they get the bugs fixed where this thing uses the armor chance system to actually gain parts, you'll basically see none of these in the game. Thank you for watching, guys.